Hello, I am Paul Brodie, and thank you for joining us for another episode of the Get Published podcast, where we help authors get published with a proven system that works. Today, we are being joined by David Lorenzo, author of The 60-Second Sale, the ultimate system for building lifelong client relationships in the blink of an eye. David, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Paul. It's great to be here.
All right, are you ready?
I am ready.
All right, let's get started. Question number 1. What is the one piece of advice that you would give to a first-time author who is currently writing their book?
The piece of advice that I would give to a first-time author who's currently writing their book, I'd have to say that that's got to be put all your passion into the writing and the writing of the book and the topic that you choose. Don't let an agent or a PR representative or your cousin Fred or anybody else tell you that you shouldn't pick a topic you're really passionate about, and you shouldn't write it in a style that you're passionate about. Oftentimes I hear people say that they have an idea for a book, but they don't think it's going to sell, or they have an idea for a book and they got feedback from somebody that it wouldn't sell. My experience has been that regardless of who publishes your book or where your book is commercially available, if you're passionate about a topic and there's an audience for it, even if you have to sell that book out of the back of your car like I did with my first book, you're going to be far more successful if you're writing about and selecting a topic that you are really fired up about.
Great answer. Question number 2. What do you feel is the hardest part about getting published?
You know, the hardest part about getting published is really, I think this is, your listeners are going to find this is something that is an afterthought when it comes to being an author and publishing, and it shouldn't be an afterthought. The hardest part about getting published is building a platform so that somebody will want to take you on as an author. Let me explain to you what I mean, and I kind of use my story as an example here. The biggest thing in publishing, and I don't know if it would be considered a dirty little secret, or in some places that it's right out in the open. Nobody cares, and this is going to sound terrible. Nobody cares about the content of your book. Nobody really even cares what the topic of your book is. You could write a book about raising pot-bellied pigs on a farm in the Midwest. If you're going to sell 100,000 copies, anybody's going to publish that book. When I say building a platform is the most important thing or the hardest part about getting published, I mean that you have to have an audience that's going to buy whatever you sell. So you should have been already selling video courses or even a short white paper on a topic similar to or in the same genre as your book is going to be in. And you should be able to prove that you have an audience that's going to buy the book after you publish it. If you have that audience, if you've built that platform for success, anybody is going to publish your book. Now, if you have a marginally successful audience, an audience that is 5,000, 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 people strong, and those people are all going to buy your book, then you can get published in some places with a niche market publisher. So my story is the perfect example. The first book I wrote is titled Career Intensity. The subtitle is Business Strategy for Workplace Warriors and Entrepreneurs. And I wrote it in 2006. And there's 100,000 career books out there, right? I wanted to write a career book for people who were stuck working in the corporate environment and wanted to go out on their own but didn't know how to do it. Nobody wanted this book. So I published it myself, and the quality was just as good as any other book out there. And I drove around everywhere I went, and I sold it out of the back of my car. I sold it at speaking engagements. And fast forward to now, 2018, I've sold over 60,000 copies of that book out of the back of my car in speaking engagements to my clients everywhere. I know that I have a platform that will buy books that I will write. In 2012, a publisher came to me in a niche market, an attorney content publisher. They produce content online for attorneys, and they said, hey, would you ever consider writing a book that's exclusive for attorneys based on how you teach people to develop business? I said, would I consider it? I'll have it to you in a month. So I wrote that book. we published it, and a small fraction of my audience was attorneys. They bought enough books for that publisher to make money, and that publisher knew that. Now in 2017, when I walked into an agent's office, I said, look, I have a platform of people that's waiting for me to write this sales book. I know I can sell at least 25,000 copies of this sales book. Let's go out and pitch it to publishers. The agent said to me, look, if you think you can sell 25,000 copies, if you do a third of that, the publishers will be thrilled because they'll recoup their costs. You got to demonstrate that you've sold something to that many people before. I said, great, I have the numbers to prove it. And it was much easier to go in and not only get an agent to represent me, but it was much easier to go in and get a publisher to agree to publish the book because I already had that platform. So that's a long-winded way of saying the hardest part about getting published is in building your platform first. Once you have that platform and you can sell stuff, you can sell a book to people, you can go in and get published, and it's not hard after that. So build the platform first.
That's a great answer, and that's actually going to tie into our next question, David, and that is, please share a marketing strategy that you have used in your book launch that worked well.
Yeah, and this is another one where I'm going to be really contrarian here. You're not going to expect me to say this, but I'm in my second week now of launching the 60-second sale. It just came out, and what I've been doing since the day that I knew that we could ship books is I'm sending one free copy, and I'm signing hundreds of copies of this book. I'm sending one free copy to each one of my clients. So all of my consulting clients. Believe it or not, I'm not in the book selling business. I'm actually in the consulting business. But every one of my consulting clients, everyone who's given me $1 over the last 15 years that I've been in business is getting a copy of this book. And what we found over the years is when I give away one copy of a book like this, which is loaded with sales tactics that people can use tomorrow to go make money, I give away one copy of that to someone who runs a sales force. They're going to buy 50 copies for everybody on their team or 100 copies for everyone on their team. So one of the things to think about, if you're going out to negotiate a deal with a publisher, is you've got to get a really good author discount so that you can sell one copy of each of the, you can give one copy of each of these books to all of your clients so that you can seed the market and send the copy of the book, one free copy to anybody who's got 10 or 15 or 20 people that they're going to want to buy books for. So that marketing strategy, which is counterintuitive, you're giving away something that people should be spending money on. And right now, my book isn't discounted on Amazon. Right now, my book is $25. So people are going out and paying $25 for something I'm giving to my clients for free, but I'm doing it because that's part of my marketing plan. Give one copy to my clients who each have 50 or 100 or 150 or 500 salespeople. I'm confident when they read this and they put it into action, they're going to want everyone on their team to get a copy. So I know this is going to pay off for me tenfold.
Well, and you hit the nail on the head. That's actually a tactic that I use as well. I give away the book. I do autographed copies and inscriptions, and I give those to law firms. I give those to strategic partners. So then having the given mentality, it's like karma. It comes back tenfold because their employees are going to want to use it. Or if it's not just the book, if you're offering courses, if you're offering programming, that's where you bring in the revenue. When I do speaking gigs, it's the same tactic where I will give away a paperback version of the seminar that I'm given for, $3 the cost is for me, but potentially getting a $3,000 speaking gig and client generation. That you're absolutely right, and that is a great tactic to use.
And the other thing that I'm doing now, too, that was one, and this is 1A, is so the people that I know who are kind of my clients who are also my biggest fans, and we all have them, I'm sending them 2 books. And what I'm writing, I'm inscribing one to them, and what I'm writing in the card that I'm including with the book is, please give this second copy to someone else you know who really gets, in quotes, relationship-based sales, someone who understands relationship-based sales. And then I'm asking them to take a picture of them giving the book to somebody else. Now, listen, maybe 10% or 15% of the people will take a picture of them giving the book to somebody else. Well, what am I doing now? I have social proof that I can put on my website, that I can put on social media, and I'm also allowing somebody else to be a hero by giving my book as a gift to someone else. And I've created a ton of goodwill between myself and one of my best clients who's also one of my biggest fans. You're never going to go wrong giving your book out strategically to people who you know are qualified to do business with you. You're never going to go wrong doing that. That's a great investment.
Absolutely. Let's talk about your favorite book. What is your favorite book, and what is the number one thing that you learned from it?
Yeah, this is such a hard question to answer because I read a lot of books. I read both in hard copy and on my Kindle. I travel a lot, so reading is I find it to be so much more productive versus watching videos and I've always had a problem. I can't really do work on planes, so reading is a much more soothing activity for me. Picking just one, if you force me to, honestly, I'm going to have to kind of be a nerd and say Sun Tzu, The Art of War. And the reason is not because I'm into conflict or, I have some sort of a tough guy mentality. That is a book that is one of the foundational books in strategic planning. And the thing that I've taken away from that I really run my business based on and live my life based on is that every battle is won or lost before it's ever fought. So what that means is a crappy plan is better than no plan at all, and a great plan is better than anything that anybody's going to ever throw at you. So whatever you do, at least have some sort of plan going into it, and then you can always adjust later. If you kind of take life by the seat of your pants, or you run your business by the seat of your pants, you're always in reactive mode. So if you've done something before, or if you haven't done something before, and you seek out someone who's done what you're trying to do, and you can set a plan based on that, you are far more likely to be successful than anybody else. So that's why I like the Art of War. It's it has these pithy quotes in it that you can really reflect on and think about, and it's a nice reminder for me at least, as to how to go through life, giving some thought to what you're doing before you do it.
Absolutely, and it kind of reminds me of General Patton's quote as well about having a plan today is better than having a perfect plan next week. And it exactly ties in with that. You need to have a plan. It doesn't have to be perfect, but that's one of the recurring themes I have with my coaching program and with the books is just have a plan, execute it, and don't be afraid to take the plunge.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. You can't plan so much that you have the paralysis by analysis phenomenon, but you got to have a plan before you move forward with something as important as either writing a book or planning to write a book. Who's your audience going to be? What do you want them to get from your book? It takes a half hour to think those things through, but you have to have a plan first.
Absolutely. Well, let's go to our final question, and that is, what is your favorite quote and why?
This was a great one for me. This is so easy. It's a quote from W. Edwards Deming, and the quote goes, "It's not enough to do your best. You must know what to do and then do your best." The reason that I love that quote so much is because it reinforces what I teach my kids, and it reinforces what I do every day in my business. It reinforces what my passion is, and that's we're not inventing new stuff here on this planet. Just about everything that we want to do, your listeners, you, me, anything we want to do has already been done by somebody else. So we can go out and we can figure out who's done exactly that thing, learn what they've done, either model their behavior or create a roadmap or a blueprint, and do it ourselves from that roadmap or blueprint. So we can learn what the best practices are and then go out and do it. So, I teach my kids who play sports, it's not just enough to do your best. What you need to do is figure out what the best way to practice is, and then do your best at practicing that. So that's why I love that quote so much.
That is a great quote. Well, David, thank you for being a guest on the show. What is the best way for people to find you online?
Thanks so much for asking. The best way for people to find me online is you can Google my name, and I guarantee you'll find me, and you can go to www.davelorenzo.com, or look for my new book on Amazon. The title of the new book is The 60-second sale, the 60-second, SECOND sale, and it's the ultimate guide for building lifelong client relationships in the blink of an eye. The 60-second sale by David Lorenzo. Paul, thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure being with you today.
David, thanks again, and I wish you all the best in your author journey ahead.
All right, thanks very much.
Thanks again for joining us today. To learn more about how to get your book published with a proven system that works, grab a free copy of my book at getpublishedpodcast.com.